All right. We're here this evening, Mr. Hanco Kolk. How you doing, man?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, we have the world apart now. So
Yeah, where are you?
I'm in Holland,
Holland. Right.
Western Europe, Rotterdam to be specific.
Half the world apart indeed.
Yeah. So, but it's great to see you, and thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I've always been a fan of your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you got this new Meccano story going. But before we get into the new one, I was hoping you could give us some history of Meccano.
Oh, right. Well, Meccano, you can call it. I do all kinds of comics. I do daily comics in the newspapers. I've done everything. But Meccano is special for me because this is my playroom, if you want. There I can experiment with techniques, with scenarios, and every album, every book is new for me. Um, to give you the context, it's about a city called Meccano, which is a spoof of Monaco, of course.
Mhm.
And uh, in that city, everyone who lives there is incredibly rich, but like beyond imagination. So they don't have to work, and the only thing they do is kill the boredom. And for that they embrace every trend there is, every new craze that's happening in the world, and they go to the extreme with that.
Mm.
Uh, so it gives me an opportunity to make satire about things that I get mad about or that irritate me, because every book has a different protagonist. The only thing that keeps it together is that it's happening in that city.
Okay.
Um, uh, Also, in an artistic point of view, I can vary the looks of the city. I can vary the technique that I use. Sometimes I use a brush, sometimes I use a pen or something like that.
Yeah, I read that it was important for you to change it up stylistically each story.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I invent a story and then I decide what technique does this story needs. I got one of the books is about a girl from the slums who who works her way up in society by ultimately becoming the new image of the Virgin Mary, because the church needs a new image. The Virgin Mary only scores with homosexuals, and they want a broader appeal. Uh, so this is a kind of baroque uh, baroque sensual story. Then I think, okay, this needs a brush. This needs a brush line, not a cold pen line, and it needs color with chalk, and not with ink. Not hard. And then other stories need a cold line. I got one story that's about the civil war that's happening in Meccano, and that needs a cold line. So the technique depends on the story.
Okay. And was the Civil War one, was that inspired by the Yugoslavian?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I had some trouble with it. Meccano was a cult success in Holland, and then a newspaper called me and they said, we want to have the next book, we want to publish it in the newspaper. I said, no, you don't. I know what it's about. And I said, yeah, we do. And so I said, okay, let's try it. And they published it once a week, one page a week. And after 5 pages, they got so many phone calls, and even the Ministry of Defense called, because Holland was participating in the civil war in Yugoslavia, and my Meccano was about a UN soldier who goes there, and they say, "Oh no, don't do that! It demoralizes the people." And so I had to stop there, and so I remade the story in the book. It's
Okay.
now it's about uh, a washed-up singer who goes there to entertain the troops.
Ah,
Yeah.
was she based on anybody?
It's a no, it's a combination of kind of singers that the singers that have had two hits, and then they gradually go down and end up singing at weddings.
Oh, all right.
People like that.
So I just finished Marlene Dietrich, a biography of Marlene Dietrich, and there's a whole section about her in World War II going to entertain the troops. But that's
Oh yeah, but she's a heroine.
Yeah.
She's not a loser. I read. Did you off topic? But my favorite director is he worked with Marlene Dietrich, and he told that in private she was totally different than on screen. She was a housewife. Yeah, she loved cooking, and she wasn't glamorous at all. And I thought that's great. She must have been a really interesting person.
This book was huge, and her daughter wrote it about her, so she knew everything. And yes, she loved to cook for everyone. Your favorite director is von Sternberg?
No. Oh. Try again.
Billy Wilder?
Yeah, Billy Wilder. Yeah.
I love
Billy Wilder. I think because he managed to make so many totally different movies, and all of them, and he wrote them himself. He did the screenplay himself, and all of them are well. You can just. Yeah, I think all of them are in every genre he tries. He's making the best. He's got this. The film he did in Berlin for just after the war. That's heartbreaking. And at the same time, he can make Some Like It Hot. That's hilarious. And it starts with a massacre. That takes some nerve to do that, and he pulls it off. But my favorite is The Apartment.
The Apartment is wonderful.
That's the perfect movie for me. Yeah. All right.
Well, speaking of starting things full on, I've read both The Rough Guide to Meccano, and I'm reading the new one. You really just dive in there to these people being monsters.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat.
Yeah. With The Rough Guide, I have some understanding of the characters. They do horrible things, but I kind of understand why they do it. But in the new one, Poppy, it's written out of anger. It's really anger, and as a person, I find it really hard to express anger. That's my thing. I rather go to being sarcastic. So I thought I read this about this guy. It's a drug lord. I read about him in the paper, and I thought that's a horrible person. And I want to destroy that guy. And the only way I can do it is by making him ridiculous, by really destroying him, by making him ridiculous, and that's what I'm trying there. But I published it on the website, and I think it's 9 pages now that's in it, but it's only the beginning. It's getting worse and worse, really.
We should mention that it's available on the website now for free.
Yeah, for free. Yeah, because I do this as I really do it as a labor of love, and I wanted to be read as by the most people possible. That's not English, but you know what I mean. And so I published it, and I got really nice reactions. Really nice. That's what I do it for.
Yeah, I remember when the first 3 pages came out, I was like, with the assassins who only care about their budget.
Yeah.
Like, this is so grim.
It's really, and they're the good guys. Yeah, all right.
So was this article you read, was that the inspiration for doing another one, or did you have the idea you were going to do another one?
No, I didn't have the idea. Actually, I was working on another project, and I'd been working on it for 2 years on the scenario, and I took it to the publisher, and the publisher always said, "Yeah, it's great, it's terrific, but it lacks something. It lacks a certain something." And then, well, you're in trouble if they say it lacks a certain something. You don't know anything. Yeah. So I was at my 5th draft, and suddenly I thought, this isn't my story anymore. I'm writing it for them. And even if they say yes now, I don't feel like drawing it. So I put it aside, and I think, okay, I'm going to amuse myself. I'm going to entertain myself, and I'm going to do what I really like, and I don't want to think about editors of publishers or something. I'm just gonna do what I like to do. And well, at the same time, I read this in the newspapers about this drug lord. He's Dutch Moroccan, and he's a monster. But he was hiding in Dubai. And when I read more about him, and I discovered that in Dubai, it's cramped with drug lords there. They're Northern Irish, Italian, Mexican. They all live there because Dubai doesn't have extradite. Is that the word?
Oh, extradition laws?
Extradition with other countries, so they're safe there. And I thought, Dubai, what? That's Meccano. It's a filthy, rotten city. And so I transposed it into Meccano, and I'm still having a ball. It's almost finished. 2 more pages, and then the story is done. And
okay.
I really enjoyed myself.
How much had you planned out ahead of time, or were you writing it as you went along?
Well, the storyline was the very first day that I started. I had the storyline.
Okay.
It's 61 pages in total. So I had the storyline, and I knew where it was going. And but writing the scenes, that's something that I do along the way.
Okay.
I know I need to go from A to B, but I need to find the most entertaining and the most sarcastic way to go there. That's what I do while drawing. And
sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
And you're working on other stuff as well, right? This is going on. So is this a hectic schedule to keep up?
No. I got, like I said, I published 9 pages until now, and so I'm 52 pages ahead.
Oh,
I can do it. I can really take my time there, and I think it should, because Meccano is something that I want every book to be exactly how I imagined it before I started. I don't want to have anything like that you reread it and I think, oh, I should have done different. I don't want that. I really want to have the emotion and the intention clear on the page and exactly how I mean it to be.
It seems like it's enormously fun to do.
Yeah. Really fun. I sometimes drawing comics is like a colleague of mine said, the best times for when you make a comic book is before you start and after you start. In between, it's work. And I didn't have it this time. I really enjoyed myself. Also, the writing, I did things that I haven't done before in writing. It hasn't been published yet, but there's one scene. I I'm aware of a weak spot in my storytelling. That's that I bore easily. I get bored easily. Okay. So sometimes I go too fast. I'm going like a steamroller. I go and this, and you take this, and take this, and this. And so I thought with one scene, now I'm going to take it really slow, really slow. Sometimes with images without any words, just atmosphere. And that's so unnatural for me that it was a bold trying to do that and trying to get that energy. And that's adventurous for me. Yeah.
Cool. I read that you wrote a screenplay for Meccano at one point.
Oh yeah, that was, yeah. What there was, 94, I think.
Oh.
yeah. It was about the second book. It was a Dutch company, and it was the only company who had a studio, a real studio with outside lots and all kinds of things. They did pretty impressive things, and they were working on another movie while we were writing it, and the other movie went over budget, and well, the studio folded before we could shoot it. But that movie that they were working on, it had an Oscar. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm kind of, yeah, it's kind of I think, okay, it wasn't for nothing, you know. Yeah.
What were the ideas?
It was weird that studio. Maybe it was a curse. I cursed the studio, perhaps. I did other things for them as well. They had a television series, and I wrote 3 episodes for them, and they liked it, and they were going to shoot it, and then the main character died. So
maybe you are cursing
nothing. Yeah. So take care, you know. Everybody's really careful when trying to do business with me, because it could be lethal.
What was that clicking noise? No, don't hear it now. Oh. All right.
Not me.
What were the ideas for the movie?
Oh, it was an adaptation of the second book. It was about the girl who became Mary, Virgin Mary. And again, I said to the studio, I don't think it's a good idea. You know, we're going all the way, you know. And they said, oh no, that's exactly what we like. And at the time the studio folded, we were at the 7th draft. Draft. So it was fun to make it, but every now and then we get word that someone wants to make a movie about it, but I don't take it too seriously. I just wait. But the daily comic we do, it has been a television series.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, tell us about that one for people who don't know.
Well, single, that's easy. It's a character-driven gag strip, daily comic. It's about 3 girls, or 3 or 4 girls who are single. That's it. And the nice thing about a character-driven gag strip is that you don't need belly laughter. Character driven is you can also every now and then you do a melancholic thing in it. No joke, just melancholy, and it has the effect that and we have that that readers start writing letters to the characters.
Ah, that's nice.
And then think, okay, they're not just lines on paper, you know. And we do it that's we write it together and I draw it, and we do it for 20 years now. Yeah, wow. 20 years. We don't. I shouldn't say it because because the audience, sometimes they think that it's two women who write it because it's so spot on character, you know. And when they discover that it's two middle-aged guys who make it, I don't know.
But well, that's a big compliment.
Yeah, that's a compliment. But when we do book signings, sometimes you get this like, is it you? Yeah, right.
I was gonna ask, like, when you're working on something as like intense, like satirical and grim as a Meccano is it hard to switch over to something else that you're writing? Does it ever carry over, like these ideas?
I'm tempted to say no, but I need to think about it for a moment. Well, I wanted to say no because last week I was working on Meccano and I thought, this pen line, I'm kind of bored with it at the moment. So, okay, I'm going to do another comic, another of my projects, and have a brush time now. You know, it's a different energy, and like, and I'm in the luxury position that I can change projects and see what I feel like doing.
I was going to ask, like, what would happen if the cast of Single went on holiday to Meccano?
Oh God! Oh no!
It seems like a terrible idea.
One of them would be totally corrupted. I think totally. The other one will be. The second one will be really judgmental, and the third one will be just totally frightened. She would curl up in a corner and do nothing. That's the nice thing about that comic. We know so much about them, even things we don't use in the gags. We know which brand of perfume each of the characters use, and that helps because the more you know about them, the easier it is to write a gag. Yeah. You just take a situation and let the characters go at it. And
it's strange how like there's so much backstory compared to like what actually you see on the page. You know, you know so much more about characters just from living with them.
Yeah. And also sometimes we deliberately don't tell anything, don't tell something. We leave it to the reader to fill it in. Well, for instance, one of the characters, she's quite how to put this politically correct, because I want to put it. She's got some pounds, a little bit overweight. Well, Rubenesque. That's the word. Yes. But we never make a joke about that. We never do it because we want the audience to the readers to know that it's a statement, not to make any jokes about it.
Yeah.
And one of the characters is called Fatima, which is a Moroccan name. And we never do anything about that. Just we want the readers to accept, okay, it's a Fatima. It's just a Fatima. Well, she's Fatima. She's not Moroccan, or hasn't got a background that's different from Dutch. She's Fatima. So that's why we leave that. We stay clear of that.
It's a good name too.
Yeah, it's a nice name.
Sounds nice.
And it belongs to her, really. It's interesting though that when we started out 20 years ago, our humor, our gags could be much more cutting edge than now. The taste in humor has changed so much.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really strange. I'm not complaining because, humor is something that has that's very, very connected with the time it's in. You know, if you see now a clip of a comedian in the 60s, it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that at the time, 60s, I was a little bit too young, but in the 70s, I had these comedians. I was, they were the top, you know. I was laughing until the tears came out of my eyes. And now when I hear them again, I think, what's it, you know? It's like with Single, it's the same thing. With the Daily Comic, it's the same thing. The humor changes all the time. Yeah, that's nice though.
Yeah.
Do you see that in the US as well?
I maybe not so much. Well, definitely for some stand-up, like who were older when I was growing up. But I went back the past few years and I've watched films from the 80s that I loved, and when I was a teenager, thought they were hilarious, and now it's just kind of like,
yeah.
But then there's other things like Monty Python. Still, I'm just astounded by their brilliance. Like I was so blown away by that when I saw them as a kid, and now when I watch it, it's just like, wow, this is wonderful stuff.
Yeah, but also that's Monty Python and Fawlty Towers as well. That's not humor, and that's religion. Yeah. You know, you go to the mass of humor there, and but like I used to really like George Carlin.
Yeah, he's a good example.
And if you see him now, you think, I wouldn't say that in this time and age. It's like a little bit QAnon, It's, I don't know. That's a kind of humor that doesn't really fit anymore. I don't know. What's your favorite comedian of all time?
Have you heard of Daniel Kitson? He's a British comedian.
Yeah, I heard about him.
He doesn't do TV or anything. He just does stage shows, and there's a few recordings of him. And I saw him a bunch when I was living in London, and he just has a wonderful worldview, and his stories, they kind of alternate between just laugh out loud hysterical, and then there's real other ones that are really, really touching. He just really knows how to tell a story. Just wonderful stuff.
Yeah. He goes from he takes every emotion.
Yeah.
You want to say yeah, great. Yeah. I like like Monty Python and Fawlty Towers. I like the more physical humor as well. I don't. I think there's just a stand up with a microphone. I think okay, that's witty humor. Like like that. But haha humor, that's something different. And there's this one. I don't know if there's an American or an English equivalent of that, but there's has been one in Holland who managed to, in a context, he managed to do 5 minutes nothing on stage, nothing. He said to his assistant in the wings, "Can you bring something? Can you get something? And I'll wait." And then he waits, and the audience is in stitches, and me too. I thought, that's balls. That's balls. Great. I like that.
Yeah, I went saw my friend Miles do a set. I think it was only 3 minutes, but he just kept talking to the microphone, but he was just mouthing his words, but saying nothing. And in the middle, he tapped it to see if it was on. I thought it was hysterical. Half the club hated it. But
Oh no,
I understood what he was doing. I was like, this is really awesome.
I'm all for that. There's this American stand-up comedian who satirizes stand-up comedians, isn't it?
Oh,
It's a guy who doesn't do jokes, but he talks like a stand-up comedian, and he doesn't say anything really. And I thought it was, oh, that's so good. It was, I don't know his name. Do you know him?
was this Tim? The special came out last year.
Yeah. It was. I just saw a clip, a 5-minute clip or something, but it was fantastic. It's like I never saw that.
A friend of mine sent it to me, and I was watching it, and it slowly dawned on me what he was doing, and then like I kept thinking about it for days later. I was like, that was really good.
That's really good. Yeah, really good. I'm going to get a glass of wine. Will you join me?
Sure.
Okay.
I will pause it.
Hold on.
Cheers.
Cheers. Well, if you agree, I want to change the subject a little bit, but it has to do something with writing stories. But I want to change the subject to music.
I was going to change the subject to music as well.
Okay, go ahead. No, I think music and stories have you can compare them. A good song is like a good story, with choruses and riffs, and you can compose a story like a piece of music. But you had another angle, perhaps.
Yes, I had some questions. I have them written down. I was going to ask you, in Meccano, there's a couple, I took them as references. You have business names, one in the new one, Murder Inc., and in the Rough Guide, you had Go Between. Were those just coincidences, or were those tributes to the bands?
No, I don't like the go-betweens.
Oh.
Sorry. Oh. No. Sorry. No, it was a reference to an English movie in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
No. I kind of like the new wave things, but I was more into bands like XTC and the more arty bands, if you want.
Okay.
Talking heads like that. But I sometimes I ask people what their earliest favorite band was, and from there you can build a whole tree. And then I said, for instance, if somebody said, well, in the 80s I like The Cure, then they say, okay, then you like Joy Division afterwards, and then and there's this whole family tree that you can build.
Speaking of Joy Division, I was wondering, with the Meccano Monaco connection, were you a fan of Peter Hook's band in the 90s, Monaco?
Yeah, I love that. It was I liked I started out as a Roxy Music fan, and it came from there, and it has some kinds of the same atmosphere. But I'm really eclectic there. But I like a lot of French music, like Serge Gainsbourg and people like that. Whoa!
I love Gainsbourg. And actually, a couple episodes ago, my friend Jeremy Allen was on. He just wrote a book about Serge called "Relax, Baby, Be Cool," and it's really well written. He talked to tons of people about Serge's influence, all over the world across the decades. Yeah, and I started listening to the albums again. I was like, oh, this is wonderful stuff.
Yeah, especially Melody. Mm-hmm. But what I really the first time I heard Melody Nelson was the first time I thought the bass guitar is incredible. How do they make that sound? It's deep, but also has a click in it, and it's really French. I thought, really, that's a really French bass. And then I Googled it, and it was Herbie Flowers who did it. Okay. In London. It was just an English guy, the same guy who did Walk on the Wild Side, and all kinds of things. And maybe it's because my son is a bass player. When there's a good bass in it, I thought, wow, it's a crappy song, but the bass, you know.
Do you play music yourself?
No, I was in a band, but I was a singer.
Ah, what kind of band?
New Wave, of course.
Nice.
I was until my 23rd, 24th or something. I was in that band, and at one point I had to really choose between comics and the band, because you can't do both. You can do both, but it's half then. And I chose for comics. I remember that I chose for comics because I thought perhaps my career will be longer then.
That's good reasoning.
yeah. Especially when you're a singer, because well, you put your face as your merchant. That's your business, your face and your voice, and well, they get tired of a face, but when they get tired of a comic, you can make a new comic.
Yeah. Did you do any recordings?
Yeah, I did a demo or two. We had the point where I had to choose was when we had a recording contract. I thought, yeah, now it's either I go that way or I go that way. But I'm glad that we didn't. I didn't go on with music, because I could hold a note, I could hold a tune, but I was more like an entertainer than a real singer.
Gotcha. So what were the bands that you first fell in love with when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, it was David Bowie, Roxy Music, Lou Reed. Although I loved, what's it called? The Lou Reed albums produced by Bowie. Come on.
Transformer?
Transformer, yeah. I love Transformer. And then the album after Transformer came out, and I bought it immediately because it's a new Lou Reed. And that was Berlin. Did you ever hear Berlin?
Mm-hmm.
That's the most depressing album ever made, you know. So depressing that at one time I took a nail and I scratched over one song that I never want to hear again. Well, afterward it was Talking Heads, and then I had a whole the second part of the 80s. I was more in disco. I just discovered disco, because in end of the 70s I was disco is nothing, it's commercial. Yeah. And then I was converted, and then it was Blur, the Britpop scene. Blur, Suede, you know him well.
Oh yeah.
And from there on Gorillaz and things like that.
Do you listen to music while you're working?
Yeah, I listen to music, but mostly, yeah. When I'm sketching, it's different than when I'm inking. When I'm sketching, I need to clean my head. There's this little voice in my head that says, "Oh, well, you're never gonna be there, and you fooled the public for 30 years, but now it's over." So I have to have real loud music, just a bam, bam, to put those ideas out of my head. And when I'm inking, it needs zen. It's just nice lines. So it's different music.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I'm inking, it's soundtracks mostly. I love Sergio Leone and Ennio Morricone soundtracks.
Oh, and, yeah.
I love that. Has to be a bit theatrical. It has to be big.
Okay.
I love that. But well, when I'm sketching, it could be. Yeah, what could be? It could be hardcore rap, or it could be metal, or anything that keeps my blood going, you know.
Wow. What have you been listening to recently?
Recently, it was a Dutch artist called Spinvis.
Okay.
Who is a bit arty, but his production is fantastic. His songs are great, and I really love that music. It can sometimes you have this music that you feel under your skin. It's like, oh yeah, oh, this feels good. That's that kind of music.
You just did a video for him, right?
Yeah, for Spinvis, I did a video. Yeah, he's also a friend. We met while I was doing artwork for him, and apparently he always wanted to be a comic artist, and I always wanted to make music. So we live each other's dreams. And also, what I liked about him, first time we met, we were working. I was working on artwork of one song of his. That's a really melancholic, deep, poetic song, And he came in, and after 15 minutes, when we talked, he took his guitar and he made a carnival version of it. I thought, oh, somebody who takes himself not too seriously. I love that. Nice, and that's why how we became friends.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're still looking for stuff to do together. Sometimes I draw live on stage with him and the band, and I like
that's
that.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So what music are you listening to at the moment?
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's such a tough question. I've been on a big spiritual jazz kick recently, like Coltrane stuff, Pharoah Sanders, Mingus. I listen to Mingus constantly for a couple of weeks.
Love Mingus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I discovered the Roaches, Roches. They were a female singing group in the 70s, and just lovely harmonies. I'd never heard them before.
No.
And there's a couple old albums from the 70s that, Robert Fripp produced the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting guitar stuff going on. And then Lucy Wainwright Roche, who's Loudon Wainwright,
it's a daughter?
that clan, and one of the Roches, their child. I've heard a couple of her albums. There's really lovely sort of light pop music, and she did a sort of acoustic cover of Robin's "Call Your Girlfriend," which was interesting.
Was it? Is that? Was she in Jonas Policewoman as well?
I don't think so. I don't know.
That was the Wainwrights who were in it. I don't know. I saw Rufus Wainwright in live in I think in 2003 in Amsterdam, and it was one of the most impressive concerts I ever saw. He had the big band, he had the seven-piece band, and he had just had the album Poses, and that's really big, And it was so impressive. It blew me away. And then he came back for an encore, half naked with transvestite stuff going on. It's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. I was in a totally different mood. Yeah.
Oh, when we were talking about Peter Hook's band Monaco before, I saw them in Boston in the late 90s. And, they played all their songs, and I liked the album, enjoyed the show. And then they came back on for the encore, and they did Joy Division's Failures. And it was just, wow. And this was before he had started doing anything. It was great. It was such a surprise. I mean, of all the Joy Division songs to choose, too, I wouldn't have expected that one.
Yeah, it's fantastic. What's that band called? The band called who's got this single "Let's Dance on Joy Division."
I don't know. Oh,
"Let's Dance on Joy Division."
Yes,
that's a great song. Oh, what's that? Oh.
I can't remember the name of the band.
Well, we put it underneath in the comments if you find it. Everybody should hear that song. That's a cheerful song about Joy Division. I like that.
I'm just still amazed that, the Unknown Pleasures album cover that Peter Saville did, that it's just been used so many times. Even like Urban Outfitters have like, shirts of it. I never would have expected that when I first heard Joy Division.
No, me neither.
So you did another music video last year too. I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah, that's my son's band.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he's in a Dutch band. They sing in Dutch, and it's a 3-piece band: guitar, bass, and drums. So his parts are really important. He's really the bass. He lays the groundwork of each song. And I'm so proud. They got hits now, and you hear him on the radio, and he's on television.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a really catchy tune too.
Yeah, it's a nice tune. It's about like the video, like the video suggests already. It's about somebody who doesn't answer on your mails, on your text. That's all.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
So annoying.
But they got their new single out now, and it's called Barman, and it's like a tribute to all the people who are working in bars, because all the bars are closed now.
Yeah,
and nobody can go to the cafe, and it's a hit as well, but it's a really sad song. Yeah. So I do the artwork for them, and the clip I did with my other son who's doing the animation. I do the artwork, and he does the animation. So nice. It's a family project.
So your sons have both those avenues going for them that you were interested
in. Yeah. My oldest son. This is my youngest son, the bass player, and my oldest son is producing, composing, and music, and doing animation as well. So he's more behind the scenes. He doesn't really care for the stage. But it's always nice to hear productions, and to hear about to talk about the sound of a drum, and the little details in a song. I love that. But because it has so much to do with storytelling. It's communicating with an audience, and you do it by building up tension, or building up an atmosphere, trying to grab the person. And that's exactly what I do in comics. It's just trying to grab an audience, and trying to make him go with you on a journey. And maybe I can talk about that, grabbing an audience. When I said it, I thought that's one way of doing it. I'm like I said, I get bored really easily. So with an audience, I try to grab them and pull them to me. Come on, you should read this. Come on. There's more. And Spinfish, my friend, I just talked about, when he performs, he does it totally different way. He lets the people come to him, and I'm saying, how do you do that? You don't do anything, and they come to you. How do you do that? I said, I don't know. That's how I do it. I really admire him for that.
I know that feeling well. How do they do it?
What? Yeah, you're the audience grabber as well.
Yep.
Yeah. But sometimes it just, you get some people who just have to enter a room and everybody turns. That's not us. When I was in puberty, I drew all the time. I drew, and when I went to a party, I thought, I'm going to sit in the corner and look and brood, and draw a little, and then they come to me. No, it doesn't work. The
serious artist.
Yeah. Deep thoughts.
So what else are you working on now? Oh.
After I finish. Better?
We're back. Yeah.
I'm back. After this story is done, I got another story ready. It's a totally different story, and I'm going to work on it soon. I think next month I'm going to draw it. I got the whole scenario is ready. I don't know if I can pitch it to you in 30 seconds. It's based on the idea that you physically can enter your memory. And your memory is a world, is a universe. And in one city, they keep the hard facts, like the alphabet and your zip code. And another city, you got your experiences. And another city, and there's all kinds of areas that you can travel in.
I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's I put a lot of autobiographical things in it, of course, but the story itself is fiction. Yeah, and it's going to be fun to draw it.
Yeah, it sounds it. Nice.
Yeah,
Do you have a title?
That's Sinkhole.
Sinkhole. All right.
Sinkhole, because sometimes there are holes in your memory, and this is, I think this is one of the stories that I think this needs a brush. This needs an elegant line, not a hard line. So looking forward to that.
So soundtracks on the stereo?
Yeah, different soundtracks. Yeah. Yeah. For the Meccano thing, I'm putting a soundtrack together on Spotify.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm working on it. I'm going to put it on my site as soon as I got it.
What's on it?
Oh, it starts with South American music.
Oh, all right.
I discovered a band that's not really known, but they got a good energy. And for the next chapter, the chapter that's being published now, it's is Focus. Do you know Focus?
Yeah. Okay.
It needs focus, I thought. Hocus Pocus by Focus. Yeah. That's a weird song. Did you see Queen's Gambit?
Yes. Oh, I loved it.
Did you like the soundtrack?
Yes.
How did they find those songs?
I know. Funnily enough, my YouTube channel, like 10 years ago, I put up that the Busy Signal song, the French song, the duh, duh, duh.
Yeah. Oh, you knew it already.
Yeah. So on like one of my YouTube videos, it has like 15,000 hits. For the rest of, much less than that. But I was blown away that they used that. It's such a good tune.
No, well, I didn't know it, and I heard it on Queen's Gambit. I thought, what is this? So I paused Queen's Gambit, and I wanted to know who was in it, because that was a fantastic song.
Yeah,
fantastic.
So I do that all the time. There's this show, Canadian comedy, Letterkenny, which is one of the funniest things I've seen in years, but they have such good music. So whenever I watch, I keep my phone next to me to Shazam, whatever tune they're playing. I've discovered so many good bands through them. White Reaper, have you heard them?
White Reaper, no. Yeah. It's a band?
Yeah, it's very like the Ramones and the Misfits. Very catchy, like fast, energetic punk rock.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
They got a bit poppy with the last album because they were on a major label, but it's still very good songs. Really great energy.
And you discovered it at that show?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I like that, and I like you got T-Bone Burnett, for instance, who's great at choosing soundtracks. In True Detective, that's T-Bone Burnett, isn't it?
I haven't seen True Detective yet. It's on my list.
Well, he finds really amazing amazing songs to go with the scenes, and sometimes totally unexpected and totally. And then a totally unexpected song, and you look at the scene and think, yeah, it fits. How does he do that? Like Jethro Tull. I used to love Jethro Tull when I was a kid, and then I thought it's crap. And suddenly he put it in True Detective, and I thought, it's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the playlist is going to go on your website. I've noticed you've been using your website a lot more recently.
Well, it's a new website.
Okay.
It's a new website. Before I had hancokolk.nl, which is Dutch website. And I got bored with that. And I thought, if I want to publish it Meccano in English, I should have a .com. So I changed it to hancokolk.com. I really like how it's handled now, and how what it takes, what it gives. And yeah, when you're enthusiastic about something, you put a lot of effort in it,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's updates every week at least one update a week, but sometimes more.
Cool.
Yeah, I think tomorrow maybe tomorrow we'll have 3 more pages of Meccano online.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great to chat.
It was a pleasure. And
anything else you want to plug before we go?
No, Billy Wilder. That's everybody should watch Billy Wilder and The Apartment. And
yes.
You're gonna have a great 2 hours there. And watch your show. Watch all the episodes of your show.
Thank you very much.